today, and we begin the class. Okay, so we are live on YouTube. So for hello everyone, welcome back. And for today's session, right, we will not cover too much further into like prompt engineering and all that. So the masterclass will still happen in as scheduled. So this is a technical masterclass designed to cover some chatbot basics and perhaps some ideas on how we can structure the chatbot so that the matching, right, the Q&A matches, like is proper. So we have 4 topics to cover today. The first one, let me just share my screen. Yeah, the first one is chatbot basics, because we see on the group is that there are some questions about how can we match, like like our buttons, right, to the right content, right, or to the right page. So we'll cover to that. And also the second one is debugging. Debugging means like how can, if there's any issue, like how can I, like identify the source of error, right? So that's we'll cover that as well. And also some question about UI design, like how do I modify my button and all that stuff. That next on the second one is the design thinking. So I will actually like showcase a working chatbot, and just to provide some commentary on, like how we can design the conversation flow so that it's actually effective for your users. I mean, it addresses your users pain points, right? The third one, if we have time, I think I'm planning to cover this on during the masterclass next week. But I think it's good for us to cover some basics about mems and rooms, because we are going to cover these 2 concepts during for building our ChatGPT module. The fourth one, if we really have time, we'll cover, like I'll showcase some basic ways to set up ChatGPT. So these are like the materials in order. So we'll cover like number 1 to chatbot basics, design thinking, memory, and ChatGPT. And each time we complete a session, we'll have basically a Q&A session. So no one is left behind. So let's cover for the first part first, right? Chatbot basics, because I think this is also like being asked often in the Telegram group. Let me disable my camera and then go to my Mojo editor. Okay. Okay, so here it is. So I think for chatbot basics, right? For the chatbot basics, we are going to use the template, the Rich Brian template that we instructed for this class. So I won't use like other template, because like a huge majority of the participants are using the self-branding chatbot with OpenAI template, right? So we are going to use this as a reference. And if you have any question, like along the way, please post it on the chat box of this Zoom link, of these Zooms, so that like I can it's easier for me to see to see your questions and address it when we have Q&A. So like anytime, please post your question on the chat box of this Zoom. Okay, maybe before that, like let me go through a bit on how this chatbot works, right? And how keyword matching works. So in this chatbot, we as I said during the launch session, right? There are actually 2 kinds of like technique that we are using in this chatbot. The first one is keyword matching. Keyword matching means like this. For example, right? Let's pick any topic. Let's say I pick my business inquiries topic, right? So keyword matching means that, like if I have a button, for example, in introduction, right, called business inquiries. So this is my button, and this button is going to be seen by your users, right? So in basically in the Rich Brian chatbot, right, you can actually see the business inquiries button here. And this button is actually like the button that you design introductions or on in any other parts as well. So how it works is that how the matching work is that if you have a button here, let's say business inquiries, right? And then I type it here in business inquiries. So how the button does is that the button actually replace typing. So that means that when I type business inquiries here, inquiries, it should lead to a content that has the business inquiry. But right now I don't. Right now, like it works on your side, but it doesn't work on my side. Why is that? Because when I type business inquiries and when I check my code here, inquiries, or did I have a typo here? Business inquiries, business inquiries. Let me just check. Inquiries, yeah, I think business inquiries and this one business inquiries. Inquiries. Yeah. So basically when I type here, right, because like the keyword here doesn't match to whatever content I have. So if I want to match my content, right? Okay. Okay, now it works. It's quite strange. It doesn't work previously, but it works now. Okay. So when I type business inquiries, I want to match to a content which contain like business inquiries, right? So how do I do that? So the way you can do that is to match the content, the text on your button to the queue, to the content that you have on your chatbot, right? So in this case, like I do have a business inquiries content in business inquiries.m page. So this is how we do. And because like this in my queue, I have a text called business inquiries. So therefore, like this content or my business inquiries content will match to my business inquiries content here. So when I click here, it will lead to my content, business inquiries here. For business inquiries, you can contact me by email. It matches to this one, right? So this is how it works. Like this is called keyword matching, where you create basically where each keyword that the user input, whether they type or they use button, right, is automatically like match to the set of answers that you already prepared here. So let's say I want to have a new button, right? I want to do another matchmaking, right? Yeah, is the keyword matching case sensitive? No, it's not case sensitive. So let's say if you want to use like capital letter on your button, right? It will be translated to basically it's not, it will not, if even if you type business inquiries like this, it will still be matched. So it's letter by letter. But let me show you another example that might be that might showcase some kind of like tricky part of this keyword matching, right? So let's say I want to have another button called ice cream, right? Let's say I sell ice cream, for example. Then I want to create a button called ice cream, right? So let's say I want to put it into my introduction in my main menu, right? So for example, I want to have an ice cream button where I can actually like recommend, yeah, where I can recommend like some ice cream options here, right? So let's just for this example, we put a button called ice cream. Okay, this syntax is actually exclusively for like introduction, because in introduction you have to use quotes or HTML. But for after introduction, you can actually use other type of button as well. So let's say I put an ice cream here, and then I'll display my button here, my ice cream button here. 6. So I save it, and then I go back to main.m and I publish it again. So if I go back to my my page, now my ice cream button actually appears. But then it doesn't go anywhere, right? Like because it goes to IDK or I don't know situation. So why is that? Because I have not prepared the ice cream content yet. So what should I do? I need to prepare that matching, right? If I have a keyword called ice cream and display to my users, I need to prepare the answer, right? So what I will do is that I need to create a new Q&A basically pair or Q&A set into my on my chatbot. So what I will do if I have an ice cream basically content, right? I need to create ice cream basically, right? Another ice cream basically content. So this is what I'll do. So I have some, I can copy paste. So just to save time, ice cream, for example, right? And then ice cream, ice cream options. And then here are some ice options. You can select or which ice cream do you like? I said which ice cream do you like, for example, right? And then what I will do is that I will actually display 3 ice cream options. Ideally, but ice cream, and then a vanilla ice cream and strawberry ice cream. Then I will put a main menu as well. I think I'll just remove the center part just to make it simpler. Right. Okay. So I save and then I go back to main. Publish again. So now I already have a match basically, right? Or a content called ice cream. So whenever people type ice cream like this, but this content should appear. So what happens is that on my my chatbot, now when I click ice cream, it will appear like this. Which ice cream do you like? Chocolate ice cream, vanilla ice cream, and strawberry ice cream. I type here. Okay, now I click, right? But what happened is that it actually goes back to my my ice cream content, right? So why is that? Because what what the chatbot does behind the scene is that I actually scan through scan through all my descriptions here, and then I try to identify ice cream word here, and I find out that, oh, there's an ice cream word, but there's no match or content called chocolate ice cream, right? But there's a word ice cream here. So in this case, when I click the button of chocolate ice cream, or when I type, let's say, I don't know, like mango ice cream, right? It will actually loop back to my content here, because what the chatbot does is that it will trigger this response whenever an ice cream ice cream keyword is identified. So what should I do, right? I don't want that. Because I have a lots of ice cream content, right? Because I want to sell ice cream, I have a lot of contents about chocolate. I have separate content for chocolate ice cream, vanilla ice cream, and strawberry ice cream. So how this chatbot works is that you can actually you have to, if you have a very more specific keyword match, you have to actually have prepared another keyword match. So in this case, I have to prepare a keyword here called chocolate ice cream. Okay, sorry, my bad. Excuse me. Okay, my question is that should I put my chocolate ice cream on top, or should I put my chocolate ice cream below? I mean, does the sequence like matter? Like, is the orientation matter? Like, whether like, if I put it first or if I put it last. So that one, the answer is like, yes, it actually matters a lot. So how keyword matching chatbot works is that it will actually try to scan the all Q and A pair or all Q and MM pair from top to bottom. So in the sequence of from top to bottom in terms of topics, and from top to bottom in terms of each content or the code file here. So in this case, let's say your matching on business inquiries, right, is actually on top of your keyword matching on social media here, because the way you position the input, right, is actually you put business inquiries on top of social media. In this case, in business inquiries, this ice cream here is actually is on top of the ice cream below. So if I have two, let's say I accidentally create like two keywords of ice cream, right? And then both of them mention ice cream. So this content here will always be triggered over this content. So I hope that clarifies a bit on how keyword matching works. So if you want to have a more specific keyword, right, like chocolate ice cream, or like, let's say if you want to create let's say nature tourism, right, you have lots of forests, right, let's say or let's say park, for example, like Choa Chu Kang Park, Changi Airport Park. You need to put Choa Chu Kang Park above the park keyword, because the more specific the more specific keyword will have to be triggered first. So then, like, this is how we actually try to arrange the content on the Q&A content on this one. So in this case, let's say I put chocolate ice cream, for example, right? And then I'll say I don't need this one. I just use MM. And then here is my chocolate ice cream. Then let's say I want to pick any image, right? Just a chocolate ice cream image, just to make the user interface better. I can use, like, image hosting, and then copy paste the image link to my chatbot. So let's say I pick this one, right? I click this one. I like this one. I click right click. I click copy image address, not copy image, copy image address, and then I put it to my content here. Then I delete here. I delete this content, and then like maybe I'll ask him to go back to ice cream button, just to have a back button which allows them to go back. So let's try this one, right? Save, and then I click main and publish again. So right now I have ice cream, but then when I type ice cream, it goes to my ice cream match here, ice cream content here, not this one. Because why? Because my matching in here is chocolate ice cream, not ice cream. So like it will not be triggered. But when I click chocolate ice cream, previously like it goes back to ice cream, but when I click here, you'll actually trigger my generate an image, basically. Yeah, so this is like, how the keyword matching works. But I think I don't like the way it's displayed. So maybe what I can do is that I can have more MM. Or what you can do is that, like, you can also, like, put here just to provide some space. Let me just try again whether it makes a difference. I go back, chocolate ice cream. Okay, it doesn't make a difference. So what I'll have to do is that I can also put BR. So BR is actually an HTML word to create a new row. Let's try again and publish again. I go back to I go back and then I click ice cream. Okay, that's pretty strange. I think because this is because like the image here. Let's say if I change my image to the smaller one. Oh, why is that? Is it because I put ice cream? Or should I put it into paragraph? Enter. We'll try again. Okay, that's quite strange. But just like this is just like to showcase like how this work. So I will actually check with my team regarding this one. But basically, like I'll showcase like some example on how you can actually like do a lot of matching. But what if like if we make if we swap the orientation, right? If I put ice cream on top of chocolate ice cream here. Okay, if I go back here, if I published and I click ice cream, if I click chocolate ice cream, it will not be triggered. Because why? Because when I try to orientate my matching, my ice cream here is on top of chocolate ice cream. So therefore, like because of that, this one, right, is always more powerful than the below part. And whenever you have a more specific keyword like chocolate ice cream, it will not be triggered because like the chatbot works from top to bottom. So when they see ice cream here, whenever you type chocolate ice cream, vanilla ice cream, or mango ice cream, it will be matched to this one compared to the chocolate ice cream. So you always have to put the more specific content on top and the least specific one below, just to make sure that it matches. Okay, there are a lot of questions here, so let me just like trigger here. Okay, is it matched to Q or M1? Yes, it matched to Q. So Q is actually like the keyword that you are going to match. Okay, can you match multiple keywords to one response? Yes, you can match multiple keywords as I showed you just now. So you can match a chocolate ice cream, right? So that one you can match it to there. But okay, maybe my question is that like, what if like I have like multiple keywords? Let's say for example like let's say I want to add it to maybe choco ice cream, for example, right? Will it match again? Let's try it. So now I have two keywords, right? Chocolate ice cream and choco ice cream. If by right, if it works right, it should actually trigger both. I mean, it should be triggered with both keywords, right? Let's try it again. Okay, I think there's no issue when I click test, and then it published. So now I type ice cream. Let's see whether chocolate ice cream works. Okay, chocolate ice cream works. But what if I type chocolate ice cream? Yes, it works. So you can actually match multiple keywords into like one set of answer. What you can do is just to expand like the queue so that like it can actually match to multiple keywords. You can actually use other things as well, called type and stings, which is like much neater. So that one is on the basic content, but I will not go. You can actually read it out. You can find it out here on Smallbot here. So you can type. I think it's on collection of materials, or you can actually type. You can also do quick search on keyword. So what type 10 things does basically is that you can also you can basically classify, right, all type of content into one basically a single type. So for example, I have one content about animal, right? And I want that animal content or page to be able to be triggered whenever people type anything about animal, like whenever people type, let's say, cat, dog, pets and all that. So what you can do is that this is another trick as well, is that you can also put here, let's say, a keyword called animal, right? And then, sorry, let me just follow. I seldom use this one as well, but yeah, you can do that. Okay, for example, animal, right? Animal, and then this is my thing, my type, So I have a one type called animal, and then within animal, I have these keywords which will be triggered if I which I can classify under one keyword, right? Let's say cat, dog, or let's say elephant. This is just for illustration purposes. So if I have a new content called animal, right? Let's say I prepared something called animal. I want to call my my cluster keywords called animal. You can actually put a $ animal, because this is not a keyword match. This is basically a cluster match, or we call it types match. So yeah, type match. I think you can type it there. Yeah. Yes. So like animal, and then I can also put, let's say, just for maybe I can have a let's say another content here, and then yes, this is an animal. Let's say I use this one, and then here I save again, I publish. So now, let's say for example, right, I don't have the button yet because I've not designed the button, but by right, if I basically type any keywords under the cluster animal, cat, dog, elephant, it should basically uh, respond to the same chatbot page. Yes, this is an animal. So let's say I type animal dog. Yes, this is an animal. If I type elephant, yes, this is an animal. But if I type giraffe, for example, it leads to IDK because I have not prepared the keyword yet. So basically, this is a simple way for us to basically navigate the conversation flow. Yeah. How can I move the, is it match to Q? And is match to Q? I think I answered that. How can I move the last button for ChatGPT to the first button? Doesn't seem like I can copy paste. Okay, so you are referring to this one, right? This page, right? If I want to put Rich Brian GPT on top, so you can do that actually by changing your introduction content. So in this case, maybe I can explain a little better than last week. So how it works is that first, because in this case we are using a different format called quotes. So how it does is that on the top page, right, this is actually Mojo code. So, and this Mojo code actually just allows us to store the list of images and list of links that you want to trigger and you want to insert into the content, right? So now I have basically a profile image, which is the Rich Brian photo. I have the album link, And I have this, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 buttons, which also includes Rich Brian GPT, right? So, and then I label them button 1, button 6, button 2, button 3, button 4. No, it's not a good label. I think it's better to put your label like to put a description on that label. But this is just, I think, for simplicity purpose. So let's say I want to put my Rich Brian GPT on top, right? And I want to also delete the other button as well. So how can I do that in my introduction page? So like the display, right, is not actually determined in this part. This is just a way for us to put the button name and the link asset, right? But the way it's now being the way the introduction is being displayed is actually here, inside here. And inside the queue, right, this part is actually an HTML content. So you cannot, I think I think one of our participants tried to comment out here inside the queue. Unfortunately, we can't do that because the content queue here is actually like we follow like HTML style, so not Mojo. But don't worry about it. Like if you actually like if we understand, I think we don't have to understand the HTML code, but we have to just understand how it works. So basically right now my Rich Brian GPT is button 4, right? And button 4 now is located on the below part, right? So the first one is audio. So audio is on top, followed by the Rich Brian title, which is actually styled into a different font size. And then artist, songwriter, rapper, music producer here, followed by album, my album here, and then followed by these buttons. So what I do is that I want to make it much simpler. I want to put my Rich Brian GPT on top, and I want to remove all my buttons here. So what I can do is that I can do that here. I can delete all this, or I think just for me, right? Just for me to store this one, I can copy paste here, and then I put it here first. I drag it out and I press Control backslash to comment it out. So, and then I delete this one, button 1, 6, 2, 4, 3, 4. I also want to delete like the description as well. Yeah, let's see. Or just, I think just I'll keep it at this for the time being, so I can refer back whenever I have any mistake. I save, and then I go back to my main.m and I publish again. So right now, right, from multiple buttons, now I can change it to only 2 buttons, Sundance Freestyle and Rich Brian GPT, which is represented by album and button 4. So these are the 2 buttons that basically like, that remains in basically like in your model. But what if I want to actually like deactivate that back? I want to revert back. So what I can do is that I can copy paste here, because I copy paste like the previous change beforehand. I put it back here. I save, and all these assets are still here, so I didn't change the button name and all that. I go to main.m, publish. Oops, did I make some mistake? Let me check. Oh yeah, my bad. I have not deleted here. This one. Main.m, publish. Yeah, so it goes back. Okay, excuse me, guys. Sorry for the cough. But this is how it goes. Hope that answer your question. And actually, like I think for most of use cases, right? Actually, we don't recommend like for each page to have too many buttons at once, because right now it's different than maybe in the past where people are lack of choices. now we have too many options. Even when we scroll through like our, let's say, our e-commerce right page, right? Then when you type shoes, there are like 100 100 options of shoes, right? But well, at the end, like, you decided not to buy because there are too many options. So the rule of thumb for chatbot is that chatbot is meant to guide the users, not to confuse the users. So instead of having like too many buttons like this, it's always good to keep it to three buttons max, so that you don't really like give confuse your users when it comes to like making choices. The button number doesn't affect the top down sequence, right? No, it's just the button number is just a way for us to label the basically the button name here. It doesn't affect. Yes, thank you, Vivian, for the answer. Can I add web link instead of photo, and can I click link to go to the web page? Yes, you can do that. So let me just like go through like how we can actually like find that information on Smallbot, right? So let's say I want to find out like if I want to put a link, a web link. Okay, I think maybe we put it link. Let's say I put link, for example. So now actually in Smallbot, right, when you type link, there are a few options here, and maybe we are referring to the external link, right? So if I want to put an external link, you can actually do that using keyword called link here. So what I will do is that in let's say just in one of the example, right? Let's say I want to link my I want to actually link the my chocolate ice cream page to a buy button, right? Or to a buy basically a buy page, right? Let's say so what I can do is that I can follow like the syntax on Smallbot. So it's actually $, and then this is like the text, this is the link, and this is like the keyword. So I can follow that. So first is the text. Click here if you want to buy an ice cream, to purchase an ice cream, to purchase an ice cream. First, and then the next one is the link. I don't know. Let's say I just put any random let's put, I'm not affiliated with Shopee, but let's put maybe Shopee page, right? This is just for example, and then link. And I'll check again. Okay, there's a space, so I put it here. I save, and then I go back to my main.m, and I published. So now I go straight to chocolate ice cream. Yeah, this is not yeah, you can click here basically to purchase an ice cream. Maybe I don't like it to be left aligned. I want to put it as a center. So what I can do is that I can also use, just to make the link more prominent, I can have a center. I can center this one. Save, publish. Main menu, ice cream. Yeah, click here to purchase an ice cream. It goes to the Shopee link. So this is like how it works for link. Okay. Yep. Yes. What's the difference between opening and center and center is just like to close like to give you some boundaries on which part do you want to center the orientation. Thank you, Vivian, for the answer. Yes, you can format it to the right side. Also, let's check like how like how the 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 alignment. Yeah, you can actually look at this, like, you know, CSS to start the text alignment. I think it was right or justified. I kind of forget, but you can check it on the on the link that Vivian actually provides. Can we have a background music when we open the app? Can you teach us that? I can teach you that, but it's a little bit more complicated, and so I won't cover it on this week. So maybe, like, you know, I'll actually, like, show you how to do that on Telegram group. But based on our experience, right, our users don't really like to have a background music at the very start, because, like, it actually, like, you know, it cajoles the user. Actually, it surprises the users. So that's why we don't really, like, you know, put background music on the template, right? Because I don't know, based on our experience when we build chatbots, right, especially for government sector, right, or for, let's say, for public users, right, for public services, like, if you are trying to serve, like, everyone, we tend to get complaints instead of, like, you know, praises when we try to include background music. So there is a way. There's a way. We'll answer that, but we'll answer that on a Telegram group. Yes, yes, yes. So for the especially for the introduction, right? Because so the question is that even the deleted buttons are not displayed. They are still active in their respective keyword, right? If they're manually keyword. Yes. Because, like, the button is just a way to replace, like, typing. So, like, the actual matching actually lies on your queue. Your basically here, your queue here. So let's say, for example, right, like, let's say you want to be a little bit cheeky, right? Oh, I think this is also one good use cases, right? Sometimes, like, I want the users to be civilized, right? I don't want them to say bad language, right? So I can actually put a type called bad language, and then within bad language here, I can put all kinds of bad language, like, for example, like stupid, idiot, and all that, right? Like this, for example. And then what I can do is that, like, I can actually have a queue, a type called bad language here, and then I can have a content called, like, I say, watch your tongue, or be civilized. Okay, dot, and then here. So I can save it, and then I can go to main.m and publish. So right now, if I go back to my chatbot, if let's say I type bad language, right? You don't put it on the button because you don't want to encourage the use of bad language. But let's say if they put bad language in their keywords, right? Or you idiot, it will actually, like, the chatbot will remind them to be civilized. So I think this is one use case of, like, you know, putting queue that doesn't have but while not putting it on the button display. No, will British Spelling Center is a center works as well? No, this is a center is actually, like, you know, an HTML code. Unless you want to have create a module word which actually, like, you know, translate center word, British center word into, like, you know, HTML center. How do we make the link to go to the email or WhatsApp? It's all on the, so what you can do is that you can apply the same technique, but you can but to your email or WhatsApp. So again, this material is already on small bot. So what you can do is that, let's say, you can do a quick search called WhatsApp, right? And then you get this material here. So for WhatsApp, right, it's actually the same as email, and it's the same as, like, a link as well. So instead of putting it, like, put like, you know, your content and then button, you can actually put a longer one. So, like, first one is, like, okay, this is in Bahasa Indonesia, like, apologize for that, but we are still, like, you know, editing the chatbot content on the small bot English. But how it works is that you can actually put, like, $ here, same as when you put the button, This is the description. Click here to DM us on WhatsApp, and this is the number, and then this is like the text that will appear once, like, your users actually click the WhatsApp button. So like, for example, hello, I need help. This can actually be made programmatic, but we won't go to this. We won't go here today, but at the very least, like, you can actually set up a custom message on WhatsApp as well. All of this is on Smallbot, so you can do a keyword search on Smallbot as well. So if you are still confused, and then you can just click here, and then this will actually go to our system where we try to basically, like, evaluate or improve the content as well. So again, like, Smallbot is actually quite extensive. So if you want to find out how to add image or how to add audio, you can just type it on Smallbot just by using like keyword search. But stick to introductory first. I think the other contents are more advanced. Yes, yes. Is it possible for Indonesian language to be translated to English, please? Yes, we are working on that. So we are just launching this feature like a few weeks ago. So we are already reporting, like, some contents where right now is still in Bahasa Indonesia. So it's originally like designed for our government project. So it's still in Indonesia. So we try to transition it to English right now. So be patient, and then like I think like within next week, some of the content will be translated to full English. If I search chocolate ice cream in the introduction page, will it immediately show to the chocolate ice cream page? Yes, yes, it will immediately, like, actually, like, direct you. It will immediately direct you there. So I think I show you previously. If I type chocolate ice cream, it will directly goes into here. Okay, can we create a text object inside the page, or need to always use the prompt at the bottom? I don't understand, Steven. Like, maybe can you, like, elaborate your question? Yeah, maybe you can, like, type further, like, you can type more detailed explanation on the chat box. How do we change the file name? Yes. Yeah, you can use like rename. So if I want to change the file name, for example, I can right click here, rename, and then let's say business. But don't forget, like, if you edit like the file name here, you need to update the file name on main.m as well, because what it does is that it's actually trying to call the content on that specific file name. So you can right click, rename. If you want to change the folder name, also can. It's also like the same. So for example, I want to change here to other content, other like folder name. Let's say if I have multiple projects, right? I can rename it to here. Say my project 2. Then the name will change. Right click, rename. Text in the middle of the page, or text box. You mean like create a text that is outside the chat bubble? Or I think if you, because like right now, like, you can already put the text inside, or orientate the text using right? But if you want to, if you are asking whether, like, we can actually put the text on the outside the chat bubble, right? That one, it requires a little bit more programming. So the short answer is yes, but it's complicated. Is it possible to change the chatbot width size for only one page? Yes, but very complicated. So we do have a similar issue when we try to embed Instagram, right? Because Meta products are the hardest to embed because the way they include so many things, right, on the embed, right? So, such as like pixels and all that stuff lah, compared to YouTube and Google. So we encounter the same issue, and what we decide to do is that we decided, because of that Instagram embed, we have to change our entire like bubble size, because the embed is a bit tricky, because it doesn't really follow it has some embed actually, like, is very fussy. You can't really, despite like having a more dynamic kind of like, a button bubble size, it doesn't follow that dynamic styling. So and Instagram is one of the fastest and one of the longest as well. It can be a page long embed. So at the end we decided to actually, like, adjust the width for all chatbots. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, it's on recording. Text to be on the speech bubble instead of the bottom of the page. Yeah, you can technically, like, this is the text that you can these texts are adjustable. So like all these texts are actually, like, written here. Yeah, you can, so you can change like all text inside the chat bubble. Okay. The UI appears to be defaulted to portrait currently. Can it be changed to landscape? Yes. What you can do is that first, let me fix my I think I changed the content, the name, the file name. Let me I fix it back to business inquiries. So what you can do is that you can go to main.m, main.m, and increase the bubble width to maybe like to something that is longer. Like maybe we'll try 1000 pixels, right? We'll try again. We'll save and then publish. See how it works. Okay, now I think my is it getting bigger? I think it gets bigger. Let me try like something more extreme. Yeah. Yeah. So right now, actually, I can because now actually it fits to it, kind of like it has a dynamic kind of like setup where if your text is not long, right, it will not be stretched out. But if you take a look at the business inquiries, it actually increases your maximum width of the bot itself. So what you can do is that you can actually like adjust the maximum bubble width here in pixels. It was 300. I think 300 was this size. I think this is a 300, or maybe this is slightly actually like wider. If you want to change it to like to wide, to much wider, right? You can actually change this one, both bubble width. Can I add video or animation? Yes, you can. You can add a video or any video. I think you can add YouTube. So again, you can use the quick search but feature on small bot, and you can display YouTube videos here. So to display the YouTube video, you need the link, right? To showcase the video, use smart context as shown in the following example. But just to clarify here, right? This doesn't look like a YouTube video, right? But actually, this is actually a YouTube video code. So let's say if I open YouTube right now, and then yeah. Like for example, I'm using this one. Oops. Okay. So if you see the YouTube link, there's a code, right? So what you can do is that you can click the YouTube link here, copy paste, and then paste it on your content. Let's say I use like business introduction again as an example, and then let's say I want to use it on business inquiries, right? So I follow the syntax here, bracket, dollar bracket, space, there, and then YouTube, save, go back to main.m, published. Yeah, now I have my YouTube video here. How to redo if I accidentally delete the code? Okay, there are a few ways. If you accidentally delete the code, like when you are editing, right? Like just a moment before you edit, you can actually use undo by clicking Control plus Z. So Control plus Z, and then it will actually undo. So I think I make some changes here, right? I added YouTube video, right? Then let's say this caused an error, for example. I can just click Control Z, or maybe in Mac, there's a shortcut for undo, right? I'm using Windows right now, but if you're Mac users, you can use like undo shortcut on Mac, and I can just click. Yeah. So I go back to my previous one. But let's say, right, if you did a lot of like a lot of changes, and then you save it, and then there are some changes as well. There are some some error that is not fixable at all, right? So what I recommend is that number one, for the document. Oh yeah, Command and Z in Mac also work. Okay, thank you so much, Kathy. Yeah. So basic Command Z. Yeah. So what you can do is that number one, before you download the new template, you can also first you don't delete your folder, because you might already prepare some content, right? That is actually working, right, on your previous file of previous folder. You rename it to, let's say, self-branding to new one, to other name. Let's say I for example, I put it old, so it's like an old file. Then you can also like go back to community and re-download a new file, a new folder. So what you can do is that now you can actually like basically copy paste parts that are deleted to your old file. Yeah, so that's what I usually do. Okay, I think while into deleting, right? So deleting happens because of like some errors or some bugs, right? So maybe while we are going into that, I also want to teach you a bit on how to basically do debugging. So let's say I accidentally, for example, right, I'm doing a lot coding, right, and I accidentally maybe like, I don't know, maybe in let's say in I edited maybe I edited a lot on, let's say, social media, for example, right? Social media. In my social media, I accidentally, let's say, have a typo here. Let's say, for example, like this. Or maybe this one doesn't cause an error. Let's say maybe I have a typo here, right? And then I save, and then I go back here. So I test again. Now there's something called unknown word, LSA something, right? So this one is a little bit more obvious. So that means that there's one word here which actually like cause an error, right? So this one is visible. This is visible error. So you can actually go to each content that you basically like. I mean, the last thing you edited is already on the top panel, right? So I typically search for top panel. I use Control F to find, and then I try to copy paste the source of error here. Okay, yeah, oops, not here. I click here, this one. Or I can, okay, I think I can use LSAPID. Okay, now I can identify this one and then I can delete it. But what if like the source of error is not obvious? So what I can do is that, and I think what some of the participants have actually like, suggested is actually to comment the content one by one. But let me just give you a precaution first. For this template, one thing that you shouldn't comment is actually these two, background center and UI. Because background center and UI actually runs the entire engine of the buttons and all that stuff. So what you can do is to comment the content, for example, right? Let's say I suspect it's on business inquiries. I commented out and I test again. Still have error. So probably not on business inquiries. Let me try social media. I test again. Okay. Suddenly there's no error, right? Maybe, so that means that like, it's either on business inquiries and social media. So maybe I'll try to uncomment business inquiries and see whether it works or not. Okay, it doesn't produce like, any error at all. That means that the source of error is actually located in social media. I try again. Yes. So that means that there's something wrong with my social media page. I go here, and sometimes, right, like the majority of the error is caused by, let's say, like, having too many content, and then sometimes we tend to be a little bit careless about it. So, but at the very least, it kind of narrows down the debugging scope to one topic instead of the entire chatbot. So right now I look at my social media and then to see an error. Do I have queue here? And is the space actually like, is there any space? Do I miss any space? So I can check it here. Do I miss any, like, do I use m dot at the end of the each content? And also like the double dash. Do I use double dash? So far like the first one is okay. The second one is okay. The third one is okay. But let's say I want to diagnose it further as well. So what I typically do is that I usually also like, investigate the Q and M by the question and answer like one by one. So I will start with the first one here. I comment out the other one, and I only like activate the first one. I save. Then I test again. Oh, the error vanished. That means that the first part is not an issue. So I enable like the other one. I disable the first one. I disable the third one. Save. I go back to main.m. Test again. Okay. If there's an error, right, guys? Try not to click publish. Try to test first before publishing, because when you publish, right, that means that the changes which cause an error is going to be affected. It's going to affect your chatbot who is already running. So I typically spam test before I spam publish. I click publish. So right now I check my second button, my second Q&A, right? There's no error as well. That means it's not from this one. So what I do is I commented out. Then I investigate the last one, Spotify. Okay. Then I save again. Going back to main.m. I test. Okay. So this one caused an error. So I go back to here. I try to check this part, and then I identified some error here. I delete. I saved. I don't activate the other first. I still commented that out. I just test whether, like, whether we have actually solved the issue. Okay, now everything is solved. Then I can switch that back on again. Saved. Okay, now my problem is solved. So this is typically like how we try to debug like one by one. the command I use is that so what you can do is to comment, right? To comment like using backslash and then a space, right? So if you want to comment like lots of codes at once, you can first drag the entire code and then use control backslash. If I want to enable again, drag again, control backslash, same button. Yeah. Yeah, is the opposite backslash, like top left to bottom right. Yeah, I think it's on, typically it's on is below your backspace button. If you are using Windows, the keyboard is on the below your backslash your backspace button. Yeah. Okay. Someone asked like, what's the use of okay, let me just scroll back, and there's no edit history to retrieve back. Once it's safe, you can. If you are still, if you still open your Windows, right, you can still like, Control Z as well. But once you close it and then you open back, you don't have the previous history, the previous version. Yeah. That's why like I think like it some like editor also like have that some editor has like version control on a paid basis, but some editors like don't have that as well. So typically for us, like as a product developer, right, we tend to actually like document the code on, let's say if you make any changes on a specific topic, right, I try to copy paste my content on Google Docs. Yeah. Some people use GitHub, but if you don't use GitHub, you can also use Google Docs or Microsoft Word or anything to store your copy. Yeah. Or sometimes, right, I actually have two versions basically. One for dev, one for production. That means that like anything I built, let's say if that chatbot already works and I don't want to mess that up, I try to put it under like on my production file folder. But if it's still under development, I put it under like dev. So this is like how we typically like toggle between like one another. Of course, like that happens if you are having if we build a long, like basically like an extensive like project. Yeah. Are we able to do a simple function calculation within and display the result out? Yes, yes, you can. Yes, you can. So like the calculation, how it works is that you have to learn Mojo. So like, but I think the arithmetic is quite simple. So basically, like you can, for example, I want to input the keyword, right? Let's say, so this one use memory. So how memory does is that how memory work is that the user response, right, can be actually like captured into a variable, and that variable, right, can be called out to do a simple calculation. So let's say I want to have basically like I want to divide the users, let's say if I ask them like how much is your salary, right, and then I want to calculate based on the monthly salary, I want to calculate the, let's say the tax of my salary, right. So first you can actually input, let's say what I mean, ask the user like, what's your monthly salary right now, and then that answer, right, is stored as mem. Let's say for example like this answer is stored into my monthly salary memory, and then when you want to call that back, you can actually like recall that variable like monthly salary, and then like divide by what, and use your algorithm. Monthly salary, let's say divide by 7%, right, or multiply by 0.07, and then use dot to print an answer. So you can actually look at it into arithmetic words basically. I think if we have time, I will cover through like how you can use mem for your on your chatbot. Yes, Molly is right. So update log, right, is actually I think I'll show you like some buttons that use an update log. So update how log is actually works. You can actually find the logging definition on here. We can just have a logging and debugging. Yeah. So the main use of logs is typically like, to record like, the keyword that your user use when they encounter an IDK. So in this case, right, what we have is that on your IDK, which is like the most bottom part of your chatbot, because IDK is cache all, right? So we purposely put this in the most bottom. Okay, so okay, this one doesn't have a log function, but typically, right, if you want to log like what your users actually like say that is not prepared yet on your chatbot, you can use the logging function. So how it works is that, for example, like this one, right? Let's say I have a queue and then I have an answer, and then I want to capture like, the IDK here. So what I can do is that I can use log, log, and then I follow the syntax here. Let's say I want to store it into basically like, IDK, and then X. So that means that when I do this, right? So if I type something on my chatbot, right? Let's say someone type, let's say blueberry ice cream, which has not been prepared yet, then it will actually be triggered when you click update log. It should appear. Yeah. So right now, if I click update log, I think I don't have anything yet because I have not done logging yet on my chatbot. But you can do that by following the instructions here. I think under logging. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. How do we connect buttons to chatbot pages? This is basically like, how this is covered on the previous on the earlier part of this session. But maybe I'll just show you again. Like so like how it works. This is called keyword matching. So that means that like if you want to, let's say if you want to connect, for example, like a button, right? If you have a button called ice cream, for example. So in this introduction, I also already create a button called ice cream, and I put it here. So if I want to match that ice cream into like my chatbot response, I have to prepare the answer first. I go to topic. So you can actually fill into any of this like file. In this case, I think I actually put an example on business inquiry file. And then I declare the queue here, ice cream. So the condition is that if the keyword in the button matches the queue in your chatbot code, then like, your chatbot will successfully match that button into the content. So in this case, because I already prepared here, so yeah, just to demo it again, if I go back to main menu and then business inquiry, if I type ice cream, it will link to this ice cream here, which is displayed on ice cream on line 51 here. This is the new button that I just created. So let's say if you have another content called like say studying and all that, you can also create another one. Studying and then m dot, and this is your content. Your content, and then your button here. Close by dash. So these are like how we can match like the button to the specific keyword. Change color of text, you can also do that as well. First, I think let's ask like Smallbot how to change the color of the text. Let's type text. add context, display YouTube video, change, add content. Okay. Yeah, I think to change your color, right? Basically, you can actually go to main.m and then sorry, main.m here, or self-banding chatbot with OpenAI main.m. Change your text color here. So you can change the text color here from white to black, and then the background here as well. Or I think, for example, I think someone asked also like, how can I have a new button design, right? So the new button, all button designs are actually stored under UI.m, and we use CSS to do HTML to basically like design the button. So right now we have a couple button option, but let's say if I want to create a new button design, right? Let's say I want to create new button design. Let's say button with blue background, right? And then I have button blue. I name this button like button blue. So this name will be declared when you try to declare the button on your chatbot page. And then I use I can follow like the W3 school here for some syntax on HTML. But I know that like the background color is this one. So right now I want to change the background color to blue. Maybe I can use color picker as well. I want to have this blue, right? I say I want to change it to this blue. Maybe this blue is okay. So you can pick any color picker to find your color. And then what I can do is that I can actually copy paste the 6-digit color code to my chatbot. So in this case is blue. I want to use this one, blue. And then I can also like define I think the color of the text. Yeah, I want to change my text color to white, for example. White is FFFFF, or you can also put color white as well. You can do that also. So this is your setup for blue button. Let's say if I type save, let's say I want to change my ice cream button to blue, right? Here. So right now I have a new button name called button blue. So I go to my UI.m. The name is button blue. I can declare it to my ice cream button. I can also declare it maybe to all my ice cream button here. Button blue, button blue, button blue. Can save. And then go back to main.m published. And then now if I go back and I click ice cream, it changed to my new blue button design. Replace all text color in the editor. Okay. It's auto. So if that one is actually programmed on the server on our server. Okay, for the slider, right? How to add more than 3 slides? Okay. So for the slider, right? How it works is that again the slider content is on Smallbot, but maybe we'll just demo it right away here. Okay. So the first one is that like if you want to add more than 3 slides, you can actually copy paste here. Slide 4, and then add the slider. Let's say I want to use another image. Let's use our ice cream image here. Which one is my ice cream image? Yeah, here. And then I like ice cream. And then this is the matching, right? So if I click here, I want to trigger I mean a match to my ice cream button. So here how it works. So this is called a portfolio slider. And then how the portfolio slider is called is that whenever you click keyword called portfolio, it's actually like it displays a portfolio slider here. So right now, if I add my slide here, I think it should add correctly. Let me go back to my main.m. Okay, if I go main menu, I go to portfolio. Oh, okay, I see. So there are 4 options, but then like, the dot is still 3, right? So let's investigate on that part. So let's look at the portfolio.m, how it's displayed. Portfolio slider. Excuse me. Okay, the portfolio is using portfolio slider, and then there's slider. Slider, I think it's in UI.m. Let's try to find. Okay, I think slider properties. Slider properties or UI.m. Let me find a word called slider. Ah, okay. You find it this one. It's actually in UI.m and dot number on line 14. So if I want to change the number of slider, you have to change the dot number here from 3 to 4. So what I do is that, like, let me just also like this is also a trick for investigation as well, because I'm not the developer for this template, so I'm not familiar with the entire thing, but this is how I typically track, let's say, like, for each content, right? Which source which source will which other resources is it linked to, right? So what I did just now is that I go to portfolio, right? I look at this portfolio slider, and this is the content, right? But then at the end of the day, there's actually a word slider here. That means that there's this word here determine the functions of the slider. So what I can do is that I try to find a folder or name which contains the word slider. In this case, there's a slider property, but it doesn't change anything. So that means that the second one could be on your UI setting. So in this case, I control F, I can find word slider, and then there's something called dot number. So now I change that from the dot number from 3 to 4. So I save. Let's try again. Published. We'll go back to main menu or reset and portfolio. Now we have 4. Yeah. So the answer is at the UI.m. I think UI.m for this template, all the display is actually controlled by UI.m. So you can investigate the function here. If you, let's say, like, if you screw up or something, right? Try to change the properties or the value one by one. Change the value one by one, save, and then publish, or test or publish. If there's some issue, you can always, like, go back to undo it and then, like, change it again. So whenever you make a changes on the chatbot, I really recommend you to change it one by one, so that at least if something screws up, you can always like, use undo to go back to your most recent changes. Okay. Yeah. Why my slider image is always zoom in from the original image? Yeah. So that one is the default the default setup of this slider, right? So that one is basically a default setup from the template. But I think if you want to disable that, let's see, because now we already know like a lot of slider properties here. So the Farrell who developed that the chatbot, right, is actually using a little bit more like more funky feature. I think you can disable this one. Let's try to disable this one. Oh no, this one is hover color. Hover color. It doesn't change color though. But maybe I think there's somewhere some functionality in the hover. Pointer color point. Okay. Maybe let's try like to disable the hover, right? Yeah, it's still like zoom out. I'll check with the developer on how to disable the hover feature. But I think I don't see it written here. So you can, yeah, I think the hover part is not, the hovering part is actually like the default setup. Yeah, but I don't think it makes it cause a lot of like makes a lot of difference. I think it's just a simple detail which I feel make it a little bit nicer actually in my opinion. So yeah. Any other questions, guys? Like I think the session has been very interactive so far. So let me check whether there's any question on YouTube. Yeah, lowercase, uppercase. No, we don't have the drag and drop interface because I think in when we try to design the chatbot, it's not just the chatbot and GPT as well. There are a lot of backends behind the scene. So we find out that in the long run, if you know how to do a low code, it's actually like you can do much more. You can build much more powerful like chatbots or functionalities. Yeah. Okay. Okay, guys. I think for this one, right? Maybe I will actually I think now some of you might be, because some of you might are asking like how can I integrate GPT on my chatbot, right? And I'm ready to actually experiment with my GPT prompts. So I'll put these instructions on my chat on the Telegram group. But maybe it's time for us to give you the access to GPT, so you can actually like start building some prompts on top of it. So actually for this week, right, we purposely not to include like GPT for the time being, so you guys can focus on the basic functionalities. But since you guys might be ready, so what you can do is that it's actually there's actually a simple way for you to get access to our GPT 3.5 from Azure. So I'll show you a bit on how it works. So I think like for your colleagues, right, or for your teammates, right, who wants to know how to integrate GPT, right, please ask him to watch this video, or I will also like share the step by step on Telegram group. But currently, as I saw it, right, this is your okay. This is no, this is the oh, I modify a bit. Okay, on the okay. I actually have a more upgraded version of the self-bending chatbot with ChatGPT, where you can interface between like OpenAI and Azure API. But currently, as it stands right now, right, your main.m should look like this, right? Should look like this, right, on top. So you have a Smojo, and then you have basically like include and all that stuff. But so I think you don't have this one. I think your display should be like this. But it should have this function, right? So that's why, because we have not included the secret key yet. Therefore, you cannot like you cannot access the secret key, right? But right now, we actually have simplified a way for you to immediately access to our secret key. The only thing you have to do is that you click backslash, you add on this, like on this line 18, press backslash and include secret. Yeah. So what this means is that, like, when you put secret on this module, you're actually accessing our hidden module that contains the secret key of that API, of Azure API. So when you click secret, right, suddenly, right, your chatbot, right, should be able to basically, like, your Rap GPT chatbot should be able to be effective immediately. When you click secret and then you click publish, it's activated here. So what you can do, what you can do here, you can go to first. I think okay. Before you do that, before you do this, I think there's one more like editing that you have to do. So besides adding secret, so just to do a precaution, you have to go to GPT. You can go to props and you disable the secret.m, because I'm afraid that the secret key here, right, because we have not included the secret key here. I'm afraid that it will actually override the secret key on the module. So you have to do two changes. The first one on main.m, not this main.m, your main.m here. First, you type secret here. So like check completion / add / secret here. This is the first step. You save and then you publish. The second step is to go to props.m. So the props.m is actually on your topics, GPT, props.m. You disable this one. And then you save, and you go back to main.m, you publish again. If you try right now, you should be able to actually access the GPT functionality on your chatbot. Okay, can chatbot makes a call directly to hospital or to people or emergency? No, and we don't want to do that, because like I think we need that one requires we need to have a very strict control to trigger, like call. Otherwise it will be classified as spam. So we don't put it at this time being. Shall we ask assessment for our assignment deadline? I think, for just to clarify again, right? Just to repeat the instructions on the previous on the Telegram group. The purpose of the submission for this week is for you to practice. So like I think if we extend it, right, we are afraid that, like we do not have time to cover like other more interesting topics like ChatGPT and all that stuff. So the expectation for this week's submission is that you don't have to come. I think as long as you are able to modify like 50% of the chatbot or 40% of the chatbot, that should be okay already. As long as you can change, how to change the background, how to add new content, how to add new page, chatbot page, how to modify the buttons. That's good enough for the first week submission. So don't worry, there's no grading in for the first week submission. It's just for us to kind of like diagnose, like oh, where are our participants at right now. So don't worry about it. Like just try your best. Whatever you build until like up to Sunday night, just submit it to us. Like it's we are not going to evaluate it. It's not part of the evaluation criteria. It's just for us to kind of like see the progress, and then like some kind of gauge to what to teach for the subsequent masterclass. So don't worry about the quality of the submission. I think the purpose is that as long as you are able to kind of apply the concept that we teach during this masterclass, is good enough for us. Yeah. And I'm getting a lot of errors after adding secret when I test. Um, I think it doesn't. I'm not sure. Like I think it's. Let me try again with the with. Let me try again with the new. Basically, let me just rename my folder first. Let me try again. It should not cause any error because it works okay so far for when we test it like internally. Okay, topics main.m / secret. Let's do it on, let's demo it like live. So we click published. Okay, I think I need to change this one, like GPT testing. Okay, so the first one caused an error because I have not disabled my secret key yet. The second step is to disable my secret key here. I disable this one and I save again. And then I post it to my main.m and then publish. Let's try again. Yeah, it works. Basically, I think you might not have you have not, perhaps you have not commented the secret.m here, because what it does is that like on your secret.m, right, technically we don't really we have not included the Azure Open AI secret here, right? So that might override the content, the secret key on the module. So on props.m, you have to delete this part also. You have to comment out this part also. Yeah. Okay. How to submit a group since we hold individuals module account. One group, I mean, you only need to submit one chatbot per group. That means that like out of like five, let's say if you have 5 team members, right? And then each of you has your own module code as your own chatbot. You decide which chatbot you want to submit to us. So we only require one submission per group. So that's basically like how you can submit it on the form. So you don't have to submit all 5 chatbots, just one that represent your group. Or if, I mean, but for this week as well, right? Like, because I also understand that some of you might not have a group yet. We actually allow also like individual submission. So if you want, let's say I want to test my own chatbot, right? And on top of my group chat submission. You can also submit that as well to us as an individual, basically. Just fill in your name, and then like we'll accept that lah. Yeah, it's on GPT. It's on GPT. Yes, yes. So I mean, when you put in when you put a backslash secret, you are already connected to ChatGPT. But are we going to build on the same chatbot for the subsequent week? Yeah. We hope you work in a group to like basically like build chatbots together. So to be honest, I think most of the time spent right for most of our participants, I think the hardest part is actually the beginning part when you try to figure out like how the chatbot works and how the code works. Even if after we simplify some processes, right, it still like takes a little bit of time and practice because like you work as this is a new experience, right? So but after that, right, like once you are familiar on how this works, actually editing the content one by one is not that difficult. It's actually like you the difficult part is thinking about the concept and what kind of like solutions that we want to bring to the table. Yeah. Achita template, unfortunately, no, no. Yes, you can, but it will take a while for you to copy you have to copy the entire thing, this entire folders from self-branding chatbot, right, to your Achita file. So you need to copy paste the entire GPT folders, and you also need to add the add basically like this part, this module, check completion secret to your Achita folder. Technically you can, but I do not suggest that because it's more time consuming. Can we change the theme of the chatbot? Yes, of course. Like we I think previous batch, like there's a team that last minute actually changed their topic like 3 days before the submission. So before the final submission, so it's okay. Yeah. Props.m is at topics, GPT, and props.m. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, but maybe before that, right? Okay. I think we have two choices here. Just for guys in Zoom. I just want to check, right? Do you want to internalize like today's lesson first, or like we still have 30 minutes? Right? Should I go through a bit on how we can integrate, how we can use ChatGPT for your how we can integrate ChatGPT on your chatbot? Shall we go through the ChatGPT part, or shall we like stop here? Maybe on participants in the Zoom, can you respond on the chat box? Okay, continue. Okay, sure. Okay, maybe like I will repeat this again like on the next lesson, on the 25th master class, but I will go through a bit on how ChatGPT works in this module app. So I'll try to go through like a little bit more slowly. So if I'm going a bit too fast, just let me know. So this GPT, right, is a bit different than is different than template matching. So if you understand, like if you have actually been building like template matching chatbot, you need to do two things, right? Number one, you need to you need to set up what keywords that needs to be triggered. And number two, you need to prepare the content of the keywords, right? So these are the two steps that you have to do when you want to build a keyword matching chatbot. You need to prepare the answer, but you need to prepare the keyword that leads to the answer. So mechanically speaking is simple. You need a keyword and you need an answer. But for ChatGPT, right, is actually a different way. So for GPT, right, what it does is that you need to allow your users, right, to type anything. That means that your matching here, your queue here should be a catch-all queue, or should be a basically should be able to accept anything, right? And then based on that you need to come up with an answer. So what happens if you have multiple chat GPTs, right? You take multiple chat GPT inputs that can take anything, and then that becomes an issue, right? Then if how can I match, how can I do a matching properly if each input, each each part of the page can be triggered by any keywords that is typed by the the individuals, right? By the users, by your users, by your chatbot users as well. So in this case, that's why we need to we need to understand the concept of rooms and memories. So let me demo it a bit. Let me showcase it a bit on the code just to maybe show you like how it works. So because what just to give you some reference as well. I think on the prompt engineering and how to set up right, it's already written clearly on the prompt engineering 101 page. You can see the list of materials for this one, and this already contains how you can integrate, basically how you can modify the GPT parts of this template. So I will not go through into big detail, but I'll go through it again next week. But I think for now, I think just to give you some understanding on how ChatGPT works. So let's let's look at GPT conversation, right? So how does it work? So if you tried GPT before, right? How it does is that it basically process the user queries sequentially, right? But when I try to process the user query, every time I'm able to type anything, right? So if I type anything in non-rep GPT in outside rep GPT, right? It will typically lead to IDK, right? For example, I want to type my dog here. I don't have a response called my dog yet, so I cannot respond. I cannot provide the response. But when I enter rep GPT, right? How come when I try to send command on what my rep should be, I can actually type my dog here, like so. Okay, who is the person or object would like to rap about my dog? It doesn't lead to IDK or I don't know. Instead, it actually moves forward, and then it asks another question like, which language do you want me to rap? English, for example. And then how are you feeling about that person or object? I'm feeling sad. So I have 3 catch-all templates that doesn't link to an IDK situation or I don't situation, but it goes forward to process my keywords into basically my ChatGPT results, right? The prompt output, right? So that one requires the use of rooms and mems. So I'll go through a bit how it works. So right now, as we go, right? So this is the output of the ChatGPT. But if we go back, if I type rich Bayan GPT, if I type rap GPT, right? It will actually trigger to this part of conversation. So this is called rap GPT. Welcome to rap GPT. It goes rap GPT here. And then they'll ask question like, I will generate a response, short rap, describe your feeling. Who's the person or object would you like to rap about? In this case, I have no button that allows me to move on to the next step, but I use a keyword. But the difference is that in this case, I have a keyword called K, rep input. So K here is actually like a concept of rooms and keys, where instead of like using keyword to match one conversation to another conversation, I use key. So in this case, when a person like encounter this message and then it types the response, I'm actually giving him a key which leads me to go to the room rep input here. So first, whenever I type, whether I type like, let's say basically my dog or my cat or even ice cream, right? It doesn't go to ice cream keyword that I prepared on my button, but it goes to a room called rep input. So it goes to rep input here. So, and that's this rep input, right, is able to receive all kinds of answers that whatever like my user types, basically. So when I type my dog, right, it goes to my rep input room, basically. So because I'm granted the key of rep input from my previous conversation. So this is how I can create a catch-all keyword, catch-all queue, but it still allows me to go to the next room. So inside the room, right? So what I do is that within this rep input room, I isolate the user response to all keyword matches that I already prepared on outside rep input room. So that means that when I go to here, when I enter rep input, whatever I input here is going to be accepted as, to trigger this answer, to trigger this part. Which language do you want me to rep? So I unlock the room, I open to another room, right? So this is what I do. So which language do you want me to rep, right? Let's say I type English, for example, or let's say Chinese. So I type Chinese, right? Chinese is not in my template database yet, but now I can still move on to the next conversation. So who drives this? So the one who drives this is the rooms and key concept. So in this case, when I type English, so what I do is that, okay, in my rep input, if whatever I type, I can actually I clear my key, I take my key from rep input, I go out of rep input room, and I go into rep language room here. So this is like my entire room for rep input. So whenever I go out, I type, I clear my rep input key because I need to, whenever I exit the room, I have to return the key. And then I give my users key to rep language. So on my rep language, I have another cache all, right? So therefore, when I click rep, when I go to click rep language, right, it goes to my my room here. How are you feeling about that person or object? It triggers this one. So how I am feeling right now, I'm feeling sad, right? So when it happens, basically my when I type the response, right? When my user type a response, I go out from my rep language, but I give him a key to generate rep room. And this generate rep room is where we display the response of the ChatGPT. So this is how we can actually use, like, let's say, how we can apply rooms and keys, right? To basically isolate each ChatGPT, each catch-all keyword and direct them to next process without using keyword matching. So this is how at the end, this one equation on how this ChatGPT works. So this is the navigation aspect of the ChatGPT module. But now the second question is that if I'm able to generate a GPT, right? How is this chatbot able to remember my previous answer, right? Because I need to store, I have a keyword right now. I want him to rap about, let's say, my cat, the language is Chinese, and then how are you feeling about the person? I'm feeling angry right now. How am I able to store that input? So this is another concept called memory. So memory allows us to basically like store the user response and then to put it somewhere else into my GPT. And in this case, for my Rep GPT use cases, I'm actually trying to store all my user response, right? Let's say for what person or which object you like me to rap about, and then like what language you want me to rap, and then like what's your feeling and all that into my prompt. So instead of like let's say writing each prompt, right? I want my prompt to be customizable based on my user input. So in this case, what I did is that like I have a prompt called I am feeling something because of something. Generate a rap, a 3-paragraph rap which contains about which factors this input, right? And then you need to wrap in my user's language input, and then you need to heavily include my user's input as a word in your rap. So what I'm doing here in rap GPT conversation is to pass my users my users like input, right, into my ChatGPT prompt. Take it, store it on my prompt. Take it, put it to my prompt. Take it, put it to my prompt. So which part of mem is there? So the mem part is actually in this one, in this something called B. So this is a bit unfamiliar. Like I think it's okay. You don't have to change this part. The only one you have to change just the labeling. But how it works is that whenever I put a response, right? So this is the question: who is the person or object you like to rap about? And then based on that question, I put an answer, right? And that answer, because it goes to rap input, this is the user response. If I answer my dog, I put my dog as my dog, which is the user input. I put it into rap input variables. So this is the first story, right? I go to the room, and then in the room I store like the user response. Then the second one is language, right? So language. So what happened is that now I'm going to store another keyword called another variables for like the language, right? So on the questions on the rep input, before like I move on to this match, I ask him question: which language do you want me to rep? So when they answer the question, this one is triggered. So if I type here English, let's say I put English, this response English language is going to be stored into rep language variable. That's the second one. The third one, I asked him like, how are you feeling about that person, right? So that part is that like when I try to do that, then like the how it works is that when a user answer this question, it goes to generate rep room, but it will store this answer into my rep GPT ask prompt and rep GPT my rep GPT response here. So what I do is that what I did in this case is that I have this input. I pass this mem input, which is rep GPT response, rep language, rep input into my other like basically prompt generator. So this is how basically how it works. I skip lots of like details because I don't really like want to cover like how it operationally works, but this is like roughly how the ChatGPT module in this chatbot works. That means that what can you do again, right? So that means that beyond like generating a customized rep for your users, right? You can also use that to generate a customized, let's say, lesson learned, or maybe you can also customize advice as well. For example, instead of asking the language or instead of asking my feeling, you can also ask about their age. You can also ask about like their back conditions. You can also ask about maybe other things, and then you pass that conditions, right, or the variables into the ChatGPT prompt. Let's say right now I'm your guest is 41 years old. His back condition is blah 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 blah. Generate a personalized advice based on his condition and his age. So this is what we hope that you guys can start thinking about. These kind of use cases are quite powerful, and yeah, we will actually go through like the mechanics in more detail next week. So yeah. Okay, I think there's some question. How do we make it rap into a song or music instead of text? Yes, you can. But I think we will cover it on the subsequent week. So that one you require another API service which converts the text into a rap song or into a song, basically, or an audio, right? But let's not go there yet because that conversion as well might not be as stable as you think because you are relying on external service to do that conversion, right? But technically it's possible. No, ChatGPT is always is quite random. You can set up the degree of variability of variability, right? But even when we try to set up into like as to be as least random as possible, ChatGPT will always like provide like variety of answer. That's why it's up to your prompt to it's up to your prompt writing, right? To narrow down the scope and to narrow down the degree of variability of your ChatGPT answers. Yeah, B is just another syntax for storing value. Yeah. So like the B here, right? Like just to give you some idea, it actually like what it means is that this B this command allows you to store the last response into a wrap language like variable. You drop it lah basically. Uh, your last user input into your wrap language like variable drop. So this is how it works. Can I determine the answer in ChatGPT? Yes. So that one, this one you requires like I think we'll go through next week, but there is a way for you to kind of like lessen the degree of variability of the ChatGPT using user and assistant prompt. But don't expect ChatGPT to be consistent. That's why when we teach this, right, we don't really just give you access to GPT because practically speaking, you will not want to use GPT every time because number one, besides just like the answer can be like not constant, it can be expensive and it can be slow. So practically speaking, like I think a lot of people are still like trying to find the best use cases because of these two. It's not consistent. It can be slow, it can be costly, and then like for it can also hallucinate, especially if you are using the ChatGPT 3.5. But the GPT-4 is expensive, so, which makes it like harder for you to find out use cases unless you are building an AI agent. But AI agent also is a very difficult challenge as well. We tried building AI agent, it's not that easy. So we don't want you to basically like use GPT to operate all features of the chatbot because I think it doesn't really make sense. Yeah. Yes. So this one, right? You need to know how to write prompts basically, and we cover prompting techniques. I think there are a lot of prompting techniques outside as well, but like though we also have actually like documented our own experience like writing prompts in this document. This is on the list of materials as well. So it's something new. And we try to kind of like be selective as well in what techniques to include because some of the techniques that we try that a lot of people actually like recommended doesn't really work. and it makes the ChatGPT prompt like very slow. So yeah, this is actually a basic content about prompt engineering. Yeah. Yeah, access to ChatGPT API is paid service, but for this bootcamp, I think our team decided to just like share it to everyone. So you are using actually our Azure account that we get the sponsors from Microsoft lah. So we don't want this, like, please keep it to yourself. Don't distribute it outside, because yeah, that's our account lah. But we want to share it to you guys so that maybe at least you get some hands-on experience. But after this, right, like whether we want to continue like providing you with free credits, it depends on our negotiation with Microsoft. And number two, like it depends on our own whether we still have credits or not lah. So but by that time we will actually give you access to switch the key to your own API key. Yeah, so it's okay. We subsidize the credit for the time being. Okay, I think it's already exceeded time. So hope this session like clarifies a lot of things. If you still have any question, like just please post it on the group. The doc is already listed on the Telegram group. If you go to list of materials, there's actually prompt engineering 101 doc. You can already we posted last week, so you can already start reading. Yeah. So hope this helps your on your chatbot development. Please, before you move on to GPT, please try to like dabble with the basic chatbot first. Then like once you are comfortable with basic chatbots, then we'll go through like GPT in more details. Okay. Yeah, there is a feedback form, so I'll also fill it. I'll share the feedback form to the YouTube audience as well, since they are quite significant part of it. The doc is in list of materials in Telegram chat. Okay, maybe we'll give 1 or 2 minutes for you guys to fill in the form. Okay, so maybe we'll end the session today since it's already past 12 minutes. But if you have any question, please let us know, and we'll go through like together on the Telegram technical Q&A. Okay, looking forward to your submission tomorrow. Do your best, do as best as you can. If you have not completed it, just submit it. But please like try to kind of like complete as much as possible. Okay, see you next week. Have a good day, guys. Have a good weekend, and